this was the week where states continue to run roughshod over the right to an abortion. This week, Kentucky banned abortions at 15 weeks, and that's after Mississippi and Louisiana banned them at 15 weeks. Florida currently doing the same thing. Not to mention Missouri's new law forces women who have ectopic pregnancies. That's when a baby starts developing in the fallopian tubes, forcing them to carry their baby to death. That's because that's what it is, basically. Either one or both. The fetus definitely dies. Back to Kentucky, though, the state already had a ban on abortions at 20 weeks. And here was one of the few female lawmakers who also voted against this new bill, Senator Wise. Great name. And here's what she had to say when her colleagues were voting for it.
Explain my no vote.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a diagnostic radiologist, and diagnostic radiologists historically and in many places in this state still do all of the first trimester OB ultrasound. So I am extraordinarily personally familiar with the development of a fetus in the womb. And for you to sit here and say that at 15 weeks, a fetus has a functional heart, a 4-chamber heart that can survive on its own is fallacious. That is not true. There is no viability. I look around at my colleagues on this committee. I am the only woman on this podium right now. I am the only physician sitting on this podium. This bill is a medical sham. It does not follow medicine. It does not even purport to listen to medicine. And for each and every one of my colleagues to be so willing to cast an I vote when what you are doing is putting your finger, putting your knee, putting a gun to women's heads. You are killing women because abortion will continue. Women will continue to have efficacy over their own body, whether or not you make it legal. I vote no, and I really, really apologize to the people in Kentucky that we are spending this much time and this much energy when we have families in poverty. We have single women heading households in poverty at a higher rate than any other group in the state. And you all are not addressing that. You all are making it worse. Thank you.
Woo. That was actually Senator Berg, who was very wise, however. It's funny because Kentucky's got the leading group of poor people in the state as women, single women, more mothers. It's almost like Republicans like that. They're like, oh, yeah, on purpose. Yeah. No, that's a great stat.
Yeah, no, they did, but all the other dudes on that committee, when they met up outside, are like, boy, she's awful mouthy, huh? I don't know why we let her in here.
Why they shouldn't be in office.
10th white guy or whatever, As
Right.
a white guy, of course, I always take any opportunity to talk about abortion. But I knew as soon as, with the Supreme Court and, when we got fucked over so bad on that, well, I mean, fucked ourselves over in ways, but whatever.
Yeah, no shit.
When they took it the way that they have, and, everybody knew this was going to happen. And so none of it's surprising, but it is very alarming. And you're right, and it's been pointed out a million times over, but it deserves to be pointed out a million more. And it's that if you haven't been born yet, then nothing is more important than your life. But the moment you enter the world, all fucks are ceased to be given about you or your condition or your future or your prospects. They like poor kids, especially like black and brown kids. They don't give a fuck about them. They literally take their lunches away from them at school. If their parents can't afford, just like starve them to fucking death, fuck them over at every turn. But as long as, they're born into that life, then Jesus is cool, I guess. That's how it all. But yeah, it's
Right.
so fucking.
Jesus
It
wants
would
more
be
worker bees for their factories.
right. It would be a little different if they weren't like that. Like if they took care of poor single mothers or children in poverty and all, if they supported those measures as well, it would be a very different kind of argument. It would still be bullshit in terms of, it should be up to women. It's their body and their choice. It still shouldn't be white guys making those laws and decisions, but like, at least it would be a little less baldly hypocritical, but it's not. It's one of the most hypocritical.
It's like if Denmark were rabidly pro, like anti-choice, you'd be like, I get it. You kind of take care of kids from birth to death. You've got really robust social safety net. Yeah, who wouldn't want to bring up a kid in Denmark? But like, we are not Denmark. We do not have that. But I understand what you're saying, and I just want to give some context to Roe v. Wade, because all of these, the bills around heartbeats, right? These motherfuckers think that if you have a heartbeat, essentially by that logic, it's like, get a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, by that time, if that life is viable, then yeah, why wait until it's born before you're sending it into, whatever menial labor like job that you want? Like, they think that this fetus, sometimes even less than that, is viable outside of the womb, and it is not. And Roe v. Wade understood this, and Roe v. Wade framed this as actually a woman's privacy, her right to decide what she does with her body and what she doesn't. Now, there are limits, but the reality is 90% of abortions happen in the first trimester. That's 0 to 14 weeks, 90%. The other abortions happen because shit gets very real for many different reasons. There could be economic reasons, right? There are lack of access reasons. If you don't have access to an abortion in the first 14 weeks, obviously you would delay it. If there are economic reasons, you cannot afford an abortion, you would obviously delay it. But then there are health reasons. And the second and third trimester is when it is about the health of the baby or the fetus and the health of the mom. That's when actually abortions are arguably even more important, because they are saving lives, right? And so, but so it's like they're so stuck on the time limit and what point is it viable, and you're like, motherfucker, we've decided this, we've gone over this, and according to Roe, you're not allowed to legislate, especially in the first trimester, against abortion, but in the second, you can legislate, but very minimally, right? Very minimally when it comes to restrictions on abortions. But of course, because they're chipping away, they're shutting down clinics, the standards for clinics, then it actually only makes abortion, later term abortion, even more probable and likely. So I just want to put that out there. And I wanted to pivot, because there's a little bit more before we move on. Idaho has a 6-week abortion ban. Six weeks, but this is before many people know they're pregnant. And like Texas, it's all about bounties. So they're allowing people to sue abortion providers and get $20,000, and potentially get $20,000 for suing them. And so here's some of the debate on the Idaho state legislature floor about the parameters of this vigilante anti-choice bullshit.
I understand that someone who has committed a rape would not be able to sue if an abortion were to take place. Would a family member of said rapist be able to sue? Would they have standing?
Down from 21.
Thank you. If it is the parents, siblings, aunts and uncles, grandparents, then yes.
Same question then for incest as well?
Down 21.
Thank you. Yes.
So if I am raped and choose to have an abortion and my rapist has 10 siblings, is there anything to preclude all of them and their spouses from bringing a lawsuit for $20,000 each?
Down from 21.
I'm not sure their spouses are included in that list, but no.
Oh, not the spouses, but yes, the brothers and the sisters and the parents of the rapist can also sue if there's an abortion that takes place.
Yeah, I had either forgotten or didn't realize that this was going to get brought up, and I was actually just about to ask you about that exact law before you played that, because that is one of those things where it's like, to me, and obviously it's wholly different perspective, but to me, this is one of those things that just seems so cartoonishly evil
Yeah.
that I cannot understand how you can put these ideas forward with a straight face, even if you are anti-choice, philosophically. Like when it's framed
Right.
that way explicitly to you, it could not be more black and white. They're just asking them in point blank terms. So you're telling me that if I'm raped, my rapist family members can sue me for having an abortion, and then they say, yes, that is accurate. I don't know how you are not in your own mind at that point going, maybe we're the bad guys here. like, oh, when I hear it out loud, it seems kind of fucked up. Maybe we should
now that you
circle back to that, but they don't. They love
We're
it.
gonna have to reframe that a little bit.
Yeah,
let's
but they
take
never
away the
do.
rape. Yeah.
It's
No,
wild.
it's sort of like that's what my loving God would want is
Yeah.
for a rapist family to be able to make some money in the kingdom of heaven. Like I don't like that's in there, but it's not. I mean, I have a weird idea about when it comes to restricting women's bodies and freedoms is that, and the same thing with all the culture war bullshit, which this is not a culture war issue, but it often is wielded as such. But in terms of LGBTQ plus hate, all that stuff, I see it as like, this is when Republicans don't have any more ideas. They go back to these touchstones that are about taking away civil rights and human rights. And especially in their mind, they're like, if women were only, dropping babies like flies in the kitchen, like somehow American manufacturing would come back. Like, get the motherfucker. You guys were the ones who shipped the shit abroad and made killing on it. Like,
they either do that or they just make a new thing up completely out of thin air, like the transgender people in the bathrooms or critical race theory or some other boogeyman that they just construct whole cloth out of nothing. And if they can't think of one of those, they do what you just said and go back to the same, regressive wells over and over. Yeah, that's textbook conservative strategy there.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.